Conservation of energy. Then we have conservation of energy. One of the most well-known features of classical mechanics and also an interesting example of the development of physical ideas. Unlike momentum, which is a vector, the energy of an object is simply a number, a quantity with magnitude but no direction. Numbers are sometimes called scalars when we want to specifically distinguish them from vectors or more complicated quantities. Energy comes in a number of forms, but that is one kind. Kinetic energy, the energy of motion that is related to momentum. The formula for the kinetic energy of an object of mass m and speed v is E kinetic equal 1/2 mv square. Both momentum and energy are conserved in classical mechanics, but kinetic energy by itself is not, since it can be converted into or created from other kinds of energy. When you shoot an arrow from a bow, the energy that was tied up in the stretching of the bowstring is converted into the kinetic energy of the arrow. In simple circumstance, we can directly track how energy transforms from one form to another. Physicists like to think about a ball rolling on a hill, where we imagine there is no friction or resistance. Then there is a potential energy associated with the elevation of the ball on the hill, in addition to the kinetic energy. The formula for potential energy of a ball at elevation h is E potential equal with mgh. Here m is the mass of the ball and g is the acceleration due to gravity near the surface of the earth. Feel free to substitute in the appropriate value for the acceleration if you are doing the experiment on some other planet. Numerically, g equal 9.8 meters per second. A drop object ignoring air resistance increases its downward speed by 9.8 meters per second every second. That's what the acceleration would be if there were no hill at all. Rolling on a frictionless hill, the total energy E kinetic plus E potential remains constant, but the two forms of energy convert back and forth. If the ball starts motionless on the slope, it will start rolling downward, and at every moment, its velocity will be exactly what is required to produce an amount of kinetic energy equal to whatever it has lost in potential energy. It is easy to see potential and kinetic energy being converted back and forth into each other, but other forms of energy are harder to discern. We previously talked about the example of colliding billiard balls scattering off each other, in particular physicists' billiard balls, which move on a completely frictionless surface and create no sound or heat when they collide. In that case, both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved. At this point, you may be getting flashbacks from high school or college physics class. When both quantities are conserved, we are dealing with elastic collisions, since the objects involved simply bounce off each other. But there are also inelastic collisions where momentum is conserved but kinetic energy transformed into some other form. Imagine that instead of billiard balls, we smash together lumps of clay, with each begin with an opposite amount of momentum, P1 initial equal negative P2 initial. Rather than ricocheting off, the two lumps deform a bit and stick together. Momentum is still conserved, but kinetic energy by itself is not. It has been converted into heat and stress inside the lump of clay. Early thinkers, including Newton himself, didn't quite appreciate that momentum and energy were two separate things. They thought in the terms of a single quantity of motion. In the context of Newtonian mechanics, where constant straight line motion for unforced body is a fundamental principle, momentum is an obvious thing to define. Kinetic energy was more subtle, although thinkers such as Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, again Newton's rival for the invention of calculus, argued that the central quantity in the study of motion was vis viva, which he defined as mv squared. The situation was ultimately clarified by French philosopher and physicist Émile du Châtel. She had translated Newton's work into French and appreciated the conservation of momentum, but argued that energy was a distinct conserved quantity. As evidence, she performed an experiment originated by Dutch physicist Willem Gravensande, in which heavy balls were dropped into soft clay. The momentum of the ball is transferred to the earth as a whole, but its kinetic energy goes into creating a depression in the ground. The amount of clay displaced was found to be proportional to the square of the speed at impact. Exactly what we expect from the formula for kinetic energy. You may have heard that there is a law of conservation of mass, but that has not been strictly true since the theory of relativity came on the scene. Under relativity, energy and momentum are both conserved, though the equation for them are slightly different from what we wrote above. But mass is just a particular kind of energy. That's the meaning of Einstein's famous equation. The energy of an object at rest, that is with zero kinetic energy, is just its mass times the speed of light squared. In ordinary circumstances, conservation of mass is a pretty good approximation. But in particle physics, where particles are routinely moving close to the speed of light, it's no longer useful. And we should just think of conservation of energy.